Hi, Mary. I so appreciate you getting together with me today. And for doing so, I have a voucher for a 5 day and 4 night stay in Daytona Beach in Orlando. And have you ever been to Florida? No? I used to live there and I've been in this area and I've actually been to places in both Daytona Beach and Orlando. And there is so much to do down there. And I know you and your family are going to have such a good time. But when you do go, please remember to take your sunscreen. You're not used to the sun, it can make a miserable trip for you. So I just want you to take this and have a great, great time. Now, Mary, I don't know if there's something here or not that we can help you with, but what I'm going to do is just walk through some areas like increasing cash flow, decreasing debt, and reducing taxes. And we also specialize in life insurance and annuities that can potentially shave years off of your retirement date. Now, if there's any interest on your part, then we can gather some information, come back at a later time, and kind of go over those specifics. But for right now, there is nothing for you to buy, so I just want you to sit back and relax. Now, Federal Financial Group is a national company, and we represent several insurance companies and other financial institutions that have billions of dollars in assets. And um, and some of them have actually been in business over 100 years. And what we do is we teach people how money works. Actually, we will can teach them how make it work better for you. Our goal is to help people to become financially independent. And what that means is that the interest that you're earning on the money that you have set aside replaces what you would have normally earned from a business or a salary. And at that point, you don't have to work anymore. You may choose to, but you don't have to. And that's financial independence. And if you'd like to know how to get there the soonest, well, that's exactly where we're headed. And Mary, what I want to do is just kind of go over some of the issues and challenges that we have today, and then we're going to go over some solutions for them. Now, let's just say, for example, the last 10 years, incomes have risen, yes, but living expenses just keep going up and up and up. And for so many Americans, it's so hard for our incomes to keep up with, like the housing market, especially gas prices, um, the our food costs, and with all that, the burden of debt starts setting in. People start using their credit card, lack of security, poor spending habits ensue, and with all this together, creates a big, big problem. Just to make a point, this out of 100 people that turn 65 today, only four of those are considered financially independent, and the other 96 are not. So, what are the situations for the 96 people? Well, some actually have had to combine households. Some are dependent on church and charities just to, get money to make utilities, make ends meet. Um, some of them are actually still working. You've seen them in Walmart, in our fast food places. In fact, I had an experience a couple years ago that really hit home with me. That I actually had a chance to go back to school, and in fact, I had somebody at school. This man actually gave me some flowers, and I really didn't care for. But anyway, on the way home that day, I saw this lady walking down the sidewalk, and she actually had a shopping cart with her, and she had several bags in it. So, and there's a big parking lot, so I whipped in real quick and got the flowers, and I thought, well, I'm going to do something nice for this lady. I want to make her day. So I walked up to her, and I got to talking to her, and I thought, man, I know her from somewhere. And I said, ma'am, I know you from somewhere. So during our conversation, we had discovered that we had driven a school bus together about 10, 12 years prior to that. And you know what? She was retired. And you know what she was doing? She was actually collecting tin cans. She said her retirement check couldn't keep up. With the gas prices, maybe her property taxes went up. Maybe she had grandkids and needed the money for that. I've got grandkids, so that this really hit home with me because I'm sure when she first set up her retirement, she had no idea the impact that inflation would have on her retirement check. Now, some of the solutions are that we work in key areas and we take these 7 steps like increasing cash flow, eliminating debt, develop an emergency fund, protect what you have, and actually build a long term financial plan. And we kind of weave these together to set up a plan for you to help with your future. I'm just going to kind of rip through these real quick, and if you have any questions, just feel free to stop me and ask me. And if there's anything of big concern, then we can come up with a plan, a goal for that, and then we can come back at a later time and go over those specifics. Now, step number one is inspect what you expect. In order to learn about money and how it works and how it can work better for you, is to know where your money's going. What are you spending it on? Is there something that you can, scale back on and to increase your cash flow, and maybe take that cash flow and put it towards, working on that debt, getting it down. Or maybe we could put that extra cash towards your retirement, to help you retire the soonest. So what we do is once we get your portfolio set up, then you'll be able to go online and to inspect what you expect. Now, in order to increase that cash flow, just what is your definition of cash flow, Mary? That's great. Yeah, the money that comes in once you delegate it to all your responsibilities, then whatever's left over, that's your cash flow. In fact, we work with firms that help you find that cash flow and put it back into your budget to help it make work better for you. For example, do you get an income tax check at the end of the year? Yeah, about $1,500. Okay. There you remind me of somebody that I was talking to the other day that actually got like two to $3,000 back at the end of the year, and I asked him, I said, so what you're telling me is that you're allowing the government to keep your money for a little over a year and then give it back to you at no interest? And the guy said, well, that doesn't make sense. I said, no, it doesn't. So what we do, we can help you put that money while you're earning it back into your budget to make money for you and not the government. The step 3 is eliminating debt. And we actually have 2 plans that we can help with this with this step, and depending on the complexity and the type of debt. Now, Mary, do you have a lot of debt that you're concerned about? No, not at this time? Well, that's great. Well, we can just help you with that retirement then. Okay, now number 4 is develop an emergency fund. And do you have an emergency fund? No? Well, that's what I'm finding out a lot is from a lot of people that don't have an emergency fund. In fact, to build an emergency fund, there needs to be 4 elements. One needs to be that it needs to be in a safe place, not in your drawer or under your mattress or something. And your second one would be to put it in, instead of having it be in a checking account, maybe put it in a money market account where it's earning a little bit more interest while it's there. And another one, the third one, would be completely liquid, because how many times, in case an emergency does come up, say for example your transmission goes out in your car, instead of whipping out that plastic and paying that extra, that high interest, then you're able to get to that money and use that, because once you charge it, in about 3, 4, 5 years, that $1,800 transmission might become $3,000-$4,000 transmission. So, and number 4 needs to be separate from your checking account, because how many times do we try to be really diligent and try to build up that emergency fund in our checking account, and along comes that dress you can't just live without, because it's such a good deal. And what about that pair of shoes? Maybe the TV goes on sale for your husband, and you just got to have it. Well, those aren't really emergencies. They're important in your life, but they're not really true emergencies. So emergency fund can work so much better for you. And number 5 is to protect what you have. Okay, utilizing life insurance to provide protection against loss of life is loss of income. For example, take our picture here, and I'm sure you have personal stories, and I got personal stories where we know if the husband, something happened to the husband, and what if this was a stay-at-home mom? Did he provide for? Who's going to pay the utilities? What about the kids when they get older? And what about the mom? A lot of times nowadays that mom's the breadwinner. Maybe the dad chose to stay at home, or he can't work for some reason. And what if this is a single mom? She set up anything for her kids in case something happens for her. Now, part of a good financial plan is proper insurance to replace the income, and it also sets up an immediate estate. Now, we do things a little bit different. We look at a person's financial needs, and we bring back options, and that will save people money while they're increasing their cash flow. and then we just kind of help them get the proper amount of insurance. Excuse me just a moment.